Hi, everybody. Is there anybody here for the first time that's never been here before? Would love you to
Yes.
unmute.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah, who's that?
Yes, I am new. I'm brand new.
Karen? Oh.
Jahanara.
Oh,
Here.
do I see you?
No picture. No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay. There was somebody was waving, and I thought it was that. What's your name again? Oh, there it is.
Jahanara.
Jahanara? Oh, that's a beautiful name.
Yes.
Oh, nice to have you. Where you dialing in from?
New Jersey.
Oh.
Yay!
Yeah, Pam's from New Jersey, too. She's a Jersey girl. Well, it's nice having you here. Thank you for joining us.
So today is like my first day, so I just was watching your videos and kept seeing a lot of people losing weight. So I said I want to do the same thing too.
There you go. Yeah, you know something, when you see something that works for other people, and you're like, why won't it work for me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Should be able to work for you too.
My first time here.
Somebody else is their first time here too?
My first time here, Colorado, so it's really cold here. But been watching the videos and following the plan and just wanted to join everybody else and have a good time.
Oh, good. Well, it's good to have you, Karen. Both of you, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. I hope, if you have any questions, everybody here is very helpful, and just reach out anytime. Is there anybody else here for the first time that would like to unmute and say hello? Oh, do I see a hand up? Denise?
Yes.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, I'm Denise. I'm from New Hampshire, and very cold and snowy up here. I also watched the videos and got interested and saw the progress everyone was making, so I decided to join.
Good.
And I've been on the program, let's see, a little over a week, and made progress already, so I'm psyched.
Good.
So I've been sticking with it, and it's working. So I'm happy.
Good.
I'm finding it tough with eating all the vegetables.
Yeah, a lot of people say that at the beginning, and then
I'm sure it's something you get used to, but
yeah.
You have to do the prep. I find it's so hard. It's like at dinner time, oh my God, I have to cook all these vegetables. So the prep is very important.
Prep is very important, and I have a load of videos on prep cooking.
Yeah.
If you go, there's a playlist. I have a playlist on YouTube that says it's called Lulu's Way Healthy Eating. And all of these videos are in that playlist, along with any like food prep videos I've done, or anything on healthy eating is in that playlist. So you might want to check that for some inspiration and some ideas on batch cooking and getting things ready, because when it's 20 minutes, a half an hour before I'm going to eat dinner, no, I don't want to be cooking I don't want to be cooking anything either. I like to assemble my meals. I'm a meal assembler. And it works perfect. I've been doing it for years, and it just works perfectly for me. I just spend time with family, and it's so funny. They don't even ask. Like, they don't have to go grocery shopping for me. They don't have to figure out what I need. I just show up there, and they just know, like, they cook for themselves and I cook for myself, and I go out to my van and get what I need, and then I come in and eat with them, and and if they don't eat on my time, I just eat. It's like we don't have to eat together. Like, you don't have to eat at the same time. There's so many, social rules that just really don't need to be followed. You know what I mean? So, so it was beautiful visit, and this can work anywhere, anytime, under any circumstances, if you want it bad enough,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you're here, Denise.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here for the first time that's never been here before that would like to unmute and just say hello? Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're from. We'd love to get to know you. Anybody? Don't be shy. Okay.
Hello and welcome to Lulu's Way, Healthy Food, Healthy Life. My name is Nicole, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be your host this evening. To keep this meeting free from distraction, we ask that all in attendance please mute yourselves unless you are speaking. We also ask that you keep the video mode turned off if you are doing anything other than sitting and participating in this meeting so that we can minimize distraction. In this community, we gather to support, encourage, and inspire on the benefits of nutrition, weight loss, wellness, and the joy that comes from choosing to serve yourself well. We are not medically trained, nor do we have formal training in nutrition. We come together here for the sole purpose of providing support, sharing experiences, and promoting a healthy lifestyle. It may be wise to check with your healthcare professional with any dietary suggestions or advice you receive from this group discussion, particularly if you have health challenges. Individuals in this group may have different ideas on how to eat healthy. Just figure out what works best for you and do it your way.
Wonderful, Nicole. Thank you. So what do we have tonight, Nicole?
So tonight is another very exciting night because we have Ellen, who is going to share with us her journey. So I've been looking forward to this all day.
This is way out of my wheelhouse, just so everybody knows. So I have like a whole page full of notes here, and that's what I'll be looking at more than the camera for sure. So we'll give it a shot, and there's probably more that I missed, but this is probably going to be the most of it for me. So I grew up in South Central South Dakota on a ranch, and now I live just across the line into North Central Nebraska. And I was number 6 of 7 children, and my mom was a rural school teacher, a one-room school teacher, and a great cook, and she also struggled with her weight her whole life. And earliest recall that I maybe was too fat or something was amiss was I was probably 8 or 9, and my aunt had brought dresses that were her daughters, my cousins, to be handed down, and so I was excited to try them, but they were all too tight. I couldn't wear any of them. And then I overheard my aunt tell my mom, well, she'll probably slim down. And so then I just knew at that point that I don't even know what size I was or anything, but I just knew that I was bigger than I was supposed to be. And so that kind of started the beginning of probably that cycle of overeating. I'm assuming that's when it probably, or maybe even before, I do not know. And I don't ever recall knowing my weight until I was a freshman in high school. And I remember at some point that I weighed 142 pounds, and I just felt like a monster next to the little cheerleaders and all the little popular people. And so I just basically buried myself back into food again. And then I went to college, and I found the cafeteria food to be really good. And I took full advantage of that. And I don't know how much I weighed then, but they always talk about the freshman 15, and I've probably doubled that. I do not know, but yeah. And then after college, I got married. But I do remember that I was around 165 pounds, I think, at that time. And I was, a year or so later, I was visiting with one of my sister-in-laws, and she was saying how embarrassed she was that her pregnancy weight had gotten to 160 pounds. And I didn't say a word. There was no way she knew how much I weighed, but I was totally embarrassed because I wasn't pregnant and I was weighing more than that. So anyway, I knew that I just really needed to do something about it, but instead I just buried it with more food, and around the cycle went again. And we were blessed with 3 boys, a single and a set of twins. And after the twins were born, I had blossomed to over 200 pounds. And then in a couple of years, I joined Weight Watchers, and I had some success, but I felt guilty about spending the money. And that was like every week you went. And the one thing that stands out in my mind that I'll probably never forget is using a table knife to try to dig out 1 teaspoon of diet margarine out of a measuring spoon. If that isn't the most disgusting thing I've ever done in my life, and it was just non-sustainable, and I finally stopped going, and then the weight basically came back again. And so then along the way, like everybody's family, we had multiple losses and struggles. And in the spring of 2000, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, and that began years and years of surgeries and treatments. And then in the fall of 2000, my oldest son passed away as a result of a car accident. So for each event, there was, of course, recovery and of course, food to fall back on. And I also had a very wise woman in my life, and she would go to Weight Watchers with me. We went together. She was probably, she probably would have been 20 years older than I. But she once told me, in regard to abusing food, she said, any excuse will work. And I have to agree. And in a sick way, I used every excuse there was. So then fast forward to 2009, and one of my twins was planning a wedding. And so I just decided this was it. And I started counting calories, and I joined the gym, and I was at that gym 6, sometimes 7 days a week, and really busting it. And parts of it I enjoyed, and parts of it I hated. And I lost 80 pounds in 9 months, and just in time for the wedding, of course. But I was totally burned out from doing that. I hated the calorie counting, and I would log those things on the computer, and at first it was an obsession, and I was losing the weight, and so, but I was burned out. So I kept most of that weight off for probably a year and a half, but then my husband passed from his illness, and gradually I just quit the gym, and I stopped that exhausting calorie counting. That was totally non-sustainable for me. And of course the weight came back, and not quite all of it. I think I came within 15 pounds of it, but it came back. And like others have said here, this is kind of a repeat for some of it, but I ate whether I was happy, sad, mad, glad, no matter what. It was, yeah. And so then I did a little soul searching then, and I figured out that I was more addicted to the act of eating. I wasn't really necessarily addicted to food, but it was the act of eating, because if I started to eat, I had no stop button. It didn't matter what it was. It could have been food that I didn't even particularly like, but it was handy, it was right there, and I just didn't have a stop button. So if I ever started, I was just like an alcoholic. If they have a drink, they keep drinking. And if I started to eat, I just kept eating. And I did recognize that bread and, sweets, of course, and crackers were triggers. So I eliminated them from the house. And at one point, I started a no eating between meals. And that all went good, but only for a while. And it helped, but it never lasted. And then, of course, that cycle started over again. I'm now retirement age, and I had dreamed of traveling with a van for over 10 years. I kept telling my boys that I was going to get this van and I'm going to travel around, and they would just kind of chuckle and whatever. And pretty soon they had heard it enough times, and they kind of would cock their eye at me the next time they heard it, because I think they decided that I think Mom's serious. Anyway, that's how I found Lulu's channel, because I became a YouTube junkie on that subject of van life. And I had changed jobs a year ago in September, and I was on cement and on my feet a lot more than my previous job. And I had leg pain like nobody's business, like from the knee down, and I would lay in bed at night and my legs would hurt. And I also like to camp, and I like to take my grandkids with me. Then one night I'm laying there and I'm thinking, the thought of it that night made me hurt even more. And I thought, you'll never be able to take your grandkids camping this summer, because every step was painful. And so that's where I was at that point. And then it was last March, and I was watching a replay of a Zoom meeting. Someone on here, and I think it was Barb, had mentioned some pain relief from using this plan. So I found the meal plan and I typed it out to suit myself, printed it out, and I don't know how long I stood there, but I remember just standing there, studying that, looking at it, and making myself be honest with myself and asking myself, is this sustainable? Because nothing else has been sustainable for me. And I knew that it was probably my last chance to get it right, basically. And I decided, if I got even some pain relief out of doing this, it would be worth it. And any amount of weight loss would just be a bonus. I would consider that a bonus if I could just get some pain relief. And after the initial shock of the amount of food that I got to eat instead of got taken away, I settled into the meal prep and getting acquainted with some of the vegetables that either were new to me or I hadn't tried for years. And literally in 10 days, my leg pain disappeared and I was hooked. There was no going back. It was a miracle. In my mind, it was a miracle, absolute miracle. And I started dropping weight. And shortly after those 10 days, I did have a doctor's appointment to renew a prescription. And I told her about it. And she just looked at me and she goes, all she said was, less sugar. And I just nodded my head and she nodded her head. And that was basically the end of the conversation. But when I started this, I didn't even get on the scale because that wasn't what I was going for. But at the doctor, I weighed 197 pounds, and that was almost 2 weeks into it. So I really have no idea where I started, but that's the weight I took, and it wasn't on my scale. It was fully dressed, the whole thing. It was totally different than my scale, but after that, it was on my scale. So I just want to thank you, Lulu, for posting those Zoom meetings, because if I had not seen it or heard it, I remember I was more listening than I was watching, that I might still have been wallowing in that former self of mine. And so that was the middle of March last year, March of 24 to November of 24. I lost 62 pounds and I reached my ideal weight at that time. So I made some adjustments for maintenance, and then I went on to lose 5 more pounds, which put me below my range. So at Lulu's suggestions, I made a few more adjustments, and so we'll see what March 1st brings and if anything needs done at that point. And I feel great. I have energy to burn. I'm flexible. I mean, I can move and do things that I couldn't do before. I still am amazed that I can see that I have a skeleton. I can see bones that I never knew. I knew they were there, but you can actually see that they're not buried in fat anymore. And that just, it's kind of fascinating to me, actually. And I do feel more confident, but that has always happened as I lost weight before. I felt more confident because I would never be in photos unless I absolutely was forced to, simply because I knew I looked terrible and I just didn't care for it. It's amazing to be in, as you say, a normal sized body, and it just feels, I can't even describe how good it feels. It's just utterly amazing. I am confident that maintenance will go well, but every time it gets close to the weigh-in day, I get anxious and I wonder, have I done this good enough? And I feel like I'm fat today. I don't know if I'm gonna. No, I think I'll be okay. I mean, I go around and around, so I'm hoping that I get over that also, because trusting the plan has brought me here, and trusting the plan will keep me here. And but the maintenance was always my point of failure, and so I think that is stuck in my head a little too much. So I'm hoping that I will work that one out too, because I do enjoy planning and prepping my meals, and sometimes it's hard to decide because when I go to work, then I take lunch and dinner with me because I have 12-hour shifts. So I decide and plan and get those prepped. And sometimes it's hard to decide what to even take because I just love it. I just love all of it. I thought, I haven't had Pam's patties for a while, but dang, I wanted to try this also. And oh yeah, but I've got extra eggs. I mean, you got to go around in circles that way, but I love it all. So it's like hard to decide sometimes. And I've met a few challenges. I haven't had too many because my kids are on board and they just know that I'm going to do whatever. And, but I got through those challenges just fine, better than I expected. I don't know what I expected, but I got through them just fine. And then there was something kind of fun that happened just, probably less than 2 weeks, going on 2 weeks ago now. So Nicole had asked me for some then and now photos. And so knowing that my son and daughter-in-law and the grandkids were going to be stopping briefly, I got ready and I asked my daughter-in-law if she would take my now picture. And yeah, she was happy to do that. And so we're getting this figured out. And she looked at me and she goes, "You just look great." She goes, "You just look cute." And I know I just kind of like stopped and I didn't say anything. I couldn't say anything. It took words right out of my mouth. And then I looked at my granddaughter, and she's 10. She was standing beside her mom, and she's standing there just nodding and just looking at me and with this weird look on her face. And I'm like, what is going on? I've been this weight now for several months, and I couldn't figure out why they would suddenly say that now, except later, I think I figured it out, is that neither one of them had probably ever seen me with my shirt tucked in. That's the only thing I can figure out, is that it's like, wow. So I don't know, but it was it was a fun moment anyway, and it was a fun recent moment. So, but the gratitude I feel for this plan, and for you, Lulu, and for this whole crew that we've got here, this fabulous crew, it's immeasurable. I can't tell you how grateful I am for everyone's encouragement, advice, just being there. And I know that I could probably get a hold of any one of them and talk to any one of them about something that might be going on with this. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody, because it's a whole new life and a whole new world, and it just feels super good. So that's about all I gotta say. So.
What a story, Ellen.
Yeah.
You are cute.
Yeah, that was one thing I'd never been accused of before.
Nobody called you cute before?
I think that's why I couldn't say anything.
Yeah. I hear you.
But anyway.
Or like the first time somebody says like, oh, you go here because you're little. And I'm just like, little? Like, did somebody call me little?
Yeah. And that's a hard one for me to get past as well, because this was years back. Someone said, did so-and-so offer you a ride on his motorcycle? And I said, no. No, I wouldn't have gone anyway, because I would have just popped the tires. I would make fat jokes on myself,
right.
Just to get through it. And sometimes that still comes up, and I'm thinking, no, I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not that person. So that's the other one that's a little bit hard to remember, that I'm not that person anymore. That is hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I just love that you love this. Like,
I do.
Like, I love when you were saying, like, I don't know what to pack for my meals, because it's like, what do I want,
Right.
And I get it. I totally get it, because I love everything in my cooler. I love every bite of it. And sometimes I need to decide, and sometimes I might be like, oh, I feel like having this, but something, this is going to go bad. I don't, so I got to have this first. And it's okay. It's just one meal. And it's fine,
Because sometimes you have the most disjointed meals that you've ever seen in your life, but it's still good. It still tastes so good, and then you just plan for the next meal. And
right, because you're actually hungry for it. Like,
I'm ravenous.
I don't think I was hungry for like 50 years,
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't either.
I ate all the time.
I also recognize that at some point along the way, it's like, you don't even know what hunger is, because you're constantly stuffing something in, so you never get hungry.
Right. And it's kind of like hunger. When you do experience the hunger, like when you're upcoming for a meal, it's almost time for a meal, and you get hungry. It's like, it's not like it's painful.
No,
it's just a feeling. It's a feeling, and it's like, it doesn't have to stop right away. It's not critical,
Right.
It's not painful. It's just a God-given signal that's saying it's kind of like your fuel light going on your car. It's just like, it's time to fill up, And it's just like, it's really that simple. And when I just think about how much I abused it, it's so freeing when you stop doing that, huh, Ellen?
Yeah. Something that came up, and actually it would just happen this morning, and I don't know if it was because I do read a little bit of Bible passages first thing in the morning, and I don't know where this came from, but I just thought, I have been abusing the gift of my body for so long, and now I have to give back to make up for that abuse of something that was created, that I was created, and then I'm abusing all these years. So that has to stop, because no, I was created not to do that.
Right.
So
you're precious.
anyway.
You're a precious child of God.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yep.
anyway, that just
Yeah.
popped up this morning, and
Wow.
yeah.
And when you were talking about excuses, like, there's, like you said, happy, mad, glad, or sad, right? So, somebody would think like, people are eating for any reason,
Yeah.
There's always an excuse, but there's never
Yep.
really a good reason to stop something
Yep.
that's this amazing. Like, there's just
Yep.
really no good reason at all.
No.
There will never be another good reason for me to ever do that to myself again.
No.
But I could find excuses, especially if, like when you talked about, you lost your son. I mean, that's a huge thing to happen in your life. And I'm sure it didn't just happen and now it's forgotten. It's something that's still in your life, and it could be an excuse, or
it could be,
or the next happy occasion could be the excuse. It's like, you want an excuse. There's a million of them. There's a million of them. Yeah. But there's never a good reason. There's never a good reason.
No.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Another thing, when you were talking about calorie counting, I just thought, like, the people that are doing that, oh my God, I'm like, you're just doing math all day long. You're doing math. You got an app, and you got every single bite. You got to figure out how many calories are in it, and it's just like, in this plan, the calories are really different every day, depending on what you pick. But it's like it all washes out. If you're having a variety, it all washes out, And if you're not having a variety and you're having more of kind of the low calorie things, then your weight's going to probably come off quicker. If you're having all the higher carb, higher calorie things, it's going to go slower. But it's still going to happen. But I feel like everybody just kind of mixes it up, and it's just so easy. It's so easy.
I try to mix it up, and I actually never, we didn't grow up eating like beans, much of any kind of beans, and I just really am loving beans.
Yeah.
And I've incorporated that in different ways and dishes, but I do try to, rotate from beans to beef to chicken to fish, and I do try to rotate through all of those, and I love them all.
Good. Another thing you were talking about was, when you were saying about eating versus food, like where it's kind of like when you just start eating, it's kind of like you can't stop, and it's just like that's just like the compulsive, just being compulsive about it, and it's just, I can just remember just eating when I was hurting, and I would still, I'd be just like, oh, but I'm going to start a diet tomorrow, and I have to have chips, like a whole bag, a family-sized bag of chips,
at least.
But I'm not even a little bit hungry because I just had like a quart of ice cream and all this and sandwiches and stuff. But no, I've got to have the chip because I'm never going to eat them again. And then which was a lie. Right. And so it's like just to stop the excuses, stop the lying. Just lying to myself. It's just like no more. It's like over, know. And I also like how you said like that you just want to trust the plan, and that you're trusting the plan, and you don't have to be nervous about your weigh-in, because as long as you're following the plan, there's always a plan for whatever is going to come up again. But breaking the plan, I don't know what the plan is for that, because it's for me. In my past, whenever I've given myself a little leeway on anything, it's never ended well, and it's ended in catastrophe, and it's ended in over. It's over. Yeah.
And I know exactly that would happen.
You know that too. Yeah. So basically, I know, like right now, I'm not even weighing myself because I'm away.
Yeah.
And when I get home, I mean, I feel like I'm the same, but I don't know, because I'm not a good judge of that, because like you said, some days you can say like, oh, I feel a little bloated, I feel a little fat today, and it's just like, You know, or I feel really skinny today. Oh my God, I can really feel my hip bones. I bet I'm really low. And I get on the scale and I'm, the same, or I'm up a pound. I'm like, oh, what do I know? So it's like, I'm not a good judge of that. So I just kind of fired myself from the job. But I know when I go home, whatever it is, if I'm too high, if I'm too low, I'm taking care of it.
Yeah.
I just know it's going to be taken care of. So that's where my peace is, and that's what I trust.
Right. And I do really love the idea of that range. Yes. I think that is one of the smartest things I've ever heard, is having that range, so that, because we do fluctuate. And I know people who get on the dang scale every single day and they're in their 60s. And I'm like, what is going on with these people? But because that's what happens. And so that's one of the smartest things I've ever heard, I think, is having that range. And the other thing is knowing that this is now your plan. You will tweak it if you need to, but this is your plan for life, and it's not gonna end, because always before it ended. And then you're looking around like, now what do I do?
Right.
Well, I guess I'm okay now, so I'll go have that bag of chips again. The same old thing.
And I love how you just sound like you're really in a place where you don't want it to end. Like, why would you ever want this to end? Why would you ever want to not feel this good all the time?
Exactly.
Yeah. It just feels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels super. It feels good to be cute.
Yeah, it feels good. I still shake my head at that one. I couldn't say anything.
So you're going to get out in the van soon?
So almost 2 years ago, I succumbed and I bought an older pickup and a small travel trailer. So that's what I use, and it's taken me a while to like it, and I still want a van.
Yeah.
I still want one.
Yeah.
But at this point, it is working out so well because of the grandkids.
Yes.
They've got little bunks in there, and they are just thrilled to go with me. And I thought, well, that's why this kind of all fell in, because it was kind of a God thing, how that all fell together too. And I said, that's why, is because it suits them at their ages right now. And I can always get that van later, but they won't be going with me forever.
Right.
So it's working out fine. It's just that towing something is, and I'm going part-time with my job soon and taking leave of absence first. My plan, if how you plan and God laughs at you, but my plan is to go to North Carolina and see if I can be of some help to flood victims down there.
Oh, that's lovely.
For a month or 6 weeks.
In the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have your whole kitchen in there, so you can get all your food, and you just take care of yourself. Yep. Good. Good. First things first.
That plan has to come first.
You take care of yourself first, and that's how you're able to have the spirit and the health and the vibrancy to take care of and help other people. Yeah.
Yep.
Good for you, Ellen.
Yeah. I hope it works.
Yeah. I loved hearing you. Thank you so much for telling us your story.
Yeah. Thank you for asking me.
Nicole?
Yeah, thank you, Ellen. I love everything you said, and I can really relate to it as well, particularly the part of finding Lulu and just, it resonating so strongly. I've liked to say in the past about it's like the bus and the door opens and Lulu has a clipboard, but also like a raft, in the ocean, the sea of like just your whole life tossing around with different diets and, self-hatred and wanting to get it, but never really being able to do it. And then just at the right time, at the right moment, you find Lulu and it can be done. And then you find this group and just how meaningful that is. And the other things that, you said that really resonate with me are how you're not done when you're finished losing weight, and that to me is key in this plan, because in the past, just like you were always done at some point.
Yeah, you're always done, or knowing that you can't just go wild with eating again, but I never did know what to do. I didn't know what to do, so you just revert back to your old habits, and now I know what to do. I mean, it's
precisely like we know what,
I know exactly what to do, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's not
I
a
love
punishment.
that.
And it's not a punishment. It's a
No.
gift. It's a gift.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some people
And
might look and think that we are, you're not living. You're not. You're punishing. You're depriving yourself. It's like
Right.
I'm
right.
deprived of nothing. I have like
No.
a great life because I've
No,
put food in its proper place.
Yeah.
Using it for what it's supposed to be used for.
Right.
It's
right.
such a gift.
Yeah, and because I know that I just have no stop button, that was the other part of this that I knew it was a good fit for me, because there was a large volume of food, and to me that worked for me because of my stop button that's malfunctioned.
Right.
So then because I'll get almost done with my meal and I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm almost done. That was so good. I wish I had more. But then by the time I get done, I'm stuffed to the brim and I don't want any more. So, but it was great. It was wonderful. But I am full. I'm stuffed. And so I go from stuffed, and then about an hour and a half before the next meal, then it's like, man, that's kind of a long time. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I always make it.
Yeah.
And it's forced me to look beyond that and do something else. Now, what can I do? I've got an hour and a half. I'm hungry, but I don't need to eat now. So I just go find something else to do. It's amazing what you can get done.
Oh, and you get so much accomplished with all that time that you just used to spend eating. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think too, I was listening to a podcast earlier this week that really resonated with me and with our group, because they were talking about diabetes and how people who have diabetes, have to have treatment, have insulin. And once their diabetes is under control, they don't suddenly not have diabetes and they're okay now and can start doing things differently. They have to continue the treatment. And that's what I love about maintenance, and hearing from the maintenance crew is it's the continuing of the treatment, because we still have this relationship that we've changed with food, but it's in our past, but we don't want to go back there. We want to maintain and continue our good health. And so continuing the treatment, not waiting for this to be over. And your joy is really kind of just contagious, because I feel that too. Like, this isn't something I'm going to be done with and I'm waiting for it to be over.
Right.
It's like my lifeline,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. And I am currently, for this week, I am dog and chicken sitting for my kids. And so when I was packing to bring food, it's just like, oh my, I had boxes and all, bags full of stuff, and so I'm getting here and packing the fridge full, and it's just like, oh, that felt good. And so it's been fun to work out of someone else's kitchen, but I brought all my own stuff. And it's just been fun. It's like a fun little vacation and a little test, because it'll be a little bit of a test. If I get to go to North Carolina, it'll be a little precursor test for that. And so it's been fun. So
Very nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Barb, did you have something to say?
Hey, Barb.
I did have something to say. That's okay. Ellen, your story and my story sound like mirror images of each other.
Oh my.
Yeah, like we started at the same weight, and just your story and mine really resonated with it. So I thank you for sharing it. Mm-hmm. Especially because one of my strong motivators was my great niece and being able to camp with her and do things with her. And I found it difficult at 190 pounds to do that.
It is.
And so I hope that you're able to go camping with them this year. And I also started in March, and you started in March, and I also got to my weight at November, and you got in November.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you were the one that she heard about relieving pain that inspired her to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hands.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and I wasn't even sure who it was at first, but I figured it out later that it had
was
to be
Barb. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a very distinctive voice.
Yeah.
So you just sharing that. See what happens when you just share yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, there's probably something that you said tonight, Ellen, that's going to resonate with somebody else here. That's going to be like, yeah, you know something. This is my time. Enough.
And that's the only reason that I did this, because this is way out of my wheelhouse. But I just told myself, you know, if someone else hadn't have shared at that point, at that moment, that I would have. So if I can even inspire one person to go forward just from anything I said, whatever that might be, then it'll be worth it. It'll be so worth it. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I know a couple other things that you said that I really liked was or that I could relate to was, you know, you get a little bit anxious when you get to the way, because you think, because it's always been bad news, and now it's not bad news anymore, Ellen.
Right.
What does Lulu says is it's just information.
Right.
You got to just put that spin on it. It's just information. It's not
right.
It's not good or bad. It's just information. Right. So.
Yep.
Yeah, your story's great, Ellen. And I'm so thankful that you shared it, and I'm sure that you'll hit more than one person with your story, and it's a great story, and so very proud of you. You did great.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna say that I'm proud of myself for a change. You know, for delightful change. I'm proud of myself and what I've done, and I love to share it. If anybody asks me, I tell them. If they seem more interested or serious, then I basically carry around a copy of this plan almost wherever I go. And if they're serious and they really want to know, I just hand it to them and say, there you go. And I don't say any more about it. I don't ask them again, because, you know, it's up to them at that point. So.
Right.
Yeah, and Lulu, if you don't mind, if I could say just one more thing, and this is, somebody wrote this in the chat, and I just wanted to before it gets lost in all the chat. Sherry was, I don't know where Sherry is, but she's struggling with the math of, if you have like a little bit of, in her example, a little bit of hummus left over, and it's like 0.4 ounces of hummus. And it's just a weird number, and how to do the math around that. And so I thought maybe you could talk on that. If it were me, I would just make sure that all the proteins were even half. That's how I do it. So if I have, I don't know, 0.4 ounces of hummus, I might just toss it, because that would just be, I love numbers. But that would just blow my mind up.
I've worked with some numbers that have been tricky. I'll tell you. So, you know, serving is 4 ounces, right?
Serving
is 4 ounces of hummus. Yes. That means that I use that 0.4 and I just add chicken to it until it's 4 ounces. If I have 2 protein things that are equal, they're 4 ounces each, then you just add to it until it's 4 ounces. Now, the tricky thing is if you had something that was different measurements. So if I wanted to have, we'll think of something tricky.
Seeds,
because the seeds are 2 ounces and chicken is 4 ounces, so it's half, right? So if I have 0.75. Okay, so 3/4 of an ounce. That means I have another 1.25 ounces that I'm short, right? So if I take that 1.25 ounces and I multiply it by 2, that's how much chicken I put on, because the amount that's left over from the seed serving is, if it's converted into chicken, it's doubled. Did anybody follow that?
Yep. Yep.
You get it?
That's good.
Like for breakfast, I often have like, you know, like some fruit, and I wonder, you know, I just have just a little over like 4 ounces, and I think, well, I want some raisins, but how many raisins? Because that's 2 ounces of dried fruit. And so I try to just make it, you know, even so I can do it without help.
Yeah, but okay, let me tell you how that you could do that.
Okay.
If you had 4 ounces of fruit instead of 6, that means you have 2/3 of a serving. 2, 4, 6, right?
Right.
So that means whatever you're adding, you're just going to have 1/3. So you would do on the calculator 2 divided by 3. And then you would find out what 1/3 of a 2 ounce serving is. And that's what you would add to the 4 ounces of fruit. Did that?
I think we need a hotline, a Lulu hotline for this.
No, I mean, I only do this.
Anytime, Nicole.
I only do this. I don't do this to try to have variety of things. And I'm not sitting there with the calculator every day. But if I've got a little bit of something, like somebody's going to throw away the hummus, that ain't happening, right? So that's how I do it. So if you just see what's left over, right? So you just say, I just had 2/3 of a serving of fruit in the 6 ounce way. Now, what's 1/3 of a serving of a 2 ounce way? Follow me?
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I explain it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So that's how
but
you do
that is a challenge.
So anyway, I thought that was a really great question on the chat. I just wanted to grab it. So.
Yep. So I was hoping to explain it. I was just, whenever I have to sit down and do it, I have to think about it, and then I can calculate it, you know, but I always have to think about it.
Thank you.
Does that make sense, Sherry? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Clear as a bell. And now I'm going to put a calculator right next to my scale. Thank you.
There you go. Oh.
I was going to share Ellen's slide if you wanted to see that right now.
Oh, yes.
Lulu.
Yes,
I'd
love to.
Going to try. I'm a little clunky with it, so just give me a second here. There we go.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Wow. Wow.
Good job, Ellen.
Ellen.
Just amazing.
You know what? You just look so comfortable.
I am comfortable, and I was so embarrassed at those other photos, but that was me, and that's why I will say that I am proud of myself for not looking like that anymore.
Yeah. And not feeling like that anymore.
Not feeling like that.
You just, like, the first thing I thought of is that you just look so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the clothes and everything just feel, you know, when clothes are so uncomfortable when you're overweight. Yeah. Yeah, you look great. You look great.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for sharing those pictures.
You bet.
It's going to really inspire people.
And Ellen, not only tucked in, but tucked in with a belt.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Rocking that belt, Ellen. Rocking that belt.
Rocking the belt.
Well, maybe that's what my granddaughter liked. I don't know, but it stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That was great. Great story. Thanks so much, Ellen.
You bet.
Liz's hand's up. Liz?
Oh, Liz. I didn't see your hand.
Congratulations, Ellen. I'm so happy for you. You look great, and you sound great. It's like you're so confident.
Yeah.
It's like a quiet confidence, though.
Yeah.
And that success that you've had and the things that you've learned along the way are gonna last, because you're convinced. You have convinced yourself that you've learned what you needed to learn through this journey. And you'll continue to learn more things too. But the thing that really resonated with me is that you're doing something with your time. I noticed when I was losing weight and I had so much time, and my goodness, I can't believe how much time being obsessed with food was taking in my life. And actually, that was blocking all of the abilities that I have and what you referred to, what I was made to do, right? But all of that was, I didn't have the space to think about that because I was always obsessed with food, right? But once I eliminated that and I just had normal meals 3 times a day, I had time to think, well, what can I do with my time? Yeah. And so I'm so happy that you feel that you want to give back, you know, and that is a blessing to others and it's a blessing to you too. And it's just, you're starting to discover what you're made for. Mm-hmm. Just like for me too, that's what happened to me. I discovered what I'm made for. So I give back in my community. I give back in my church, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I've released the time that I was hogging, you know, and I'm so happy for you that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
It feels good.
Yeah.
That's nice, Liz. Yeah, you know, like sometimes people talk about like how much time it takes to prep food and oh, I don't have time to be doing all that. It's just like, I don't have time not to do that.
Right.
You know, like it's so much less time than the time, like Liz was saying, the time that you spend just either thinking about food, what you're going to have, what you're not going to have, what you shouldn't have, what you could have, what, you know, am I going to cheat? No, I got to stay. All that stuff, you know, it's all gone. It's just gone. Gives you all the time in the world. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you. Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Yes, I want to say thank you also, Ellen. What an inspiring story. That was really, really interesting. I so enjoyed it. And talking about your grandchildren, you know, that's a good motivator for me too. I used to not even be able to pick mine up without my knees hurting. And the pain has gone away and it, well, not totally away, but I can pick up, they're getting bigger and bigger, so I can't pick them up like I used to, but
Right.
but it's so noticeable. You're right. That is one of the first things that comes out, and I appreciate you talking about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And those non-scale victories, you know, for the new people, don't forget about those non-scale victories. Wearing that belt, you know, my goodness, if you're not a woman in control, putting that belt on, you know, I don't know what is. So that's great. That's great to see.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I had.
Yeah, we had a whole night was devoted just to non-scale victories. That video is somewhere, but yeah, and everybody just talked about how, and a lot of people just talked about how much better they feel, and it's just like, it just feels good to feel good. Even like you said, Julie, maybe you're not, you know, it's still not easy, but it's not as difficult when you just start to see improvements, just because that inflammation is starting to go away from all that, getting rid of all that inflammatory foods, you know. Good. Excellent.
Thank you, Julie. Barb.
Yeah, sorry. Julie, thank you for reminding me. Ellen, this is the other thing I wanted to ask you. So, in your opinion, would you say that your pain went away because of weight that you lost off your body, or because you ate healthier and got rid of all those inflammatory foods?
Oh, it was definitely the food, because it happened in 10 days.
Yeah.
In 10 days. And in 7 days, I could notice a difference already. And I had told my coworkers that I was going to try this something different, you know, and at that 7-day thing, I said, you know, I think this is working. I said, I think I feel better. And they just kind of poo-pooed it, you know, and then I made sure I paid attention, and at the 10-day, and I don't know if I'd lost any weight in 10 days. I don't know, because I didn't weigh. So, yeah, it was definitely the food.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sugar.
Sugar.
What is sugar? Sugar is
The devil.
Sugar is the devil.
Yep. I hear that in my head more often than you might think. It's
little Barb sitting on your shoulder saying, "Sugar's the devil, sugar's the devil."
Yeah.
That's a great story. I am so inspired by you today, Ellen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, not just the sugar, but all the unrecognizable ingredients that are in so many foods.
Yeah.
All that junk food and the processed food and all that stuff. It's like, you know, and it just, you know, and you wonder why you don't feel good and the joints hurt and everything hurts.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, you know, it's not contributing to health at all. And then when you just eliminate all that and still eat a lot, right? Because it's a good amount of food. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's something to be said for eating the right things, you know? It's like, oh, they were right. Eat healthy if you want to feel healthy. Oh, really? Oh, is that what I'm supposed to be doing all my life? Oh, well, better late than never, you know? When we know better, we do better.
If something has a shelf life of 5 years, what is in it that's giving it that shelf life, that ultra processed food, right? I mean, that can't be good for you. If it can keep something fresh, quote unquote, on the shelf for 5 years, or maybe I'm over exaggerating, but
even a year or two.
Even a year or two. What's that? If you put that into your body, what's that? That's sticking around in your body, and it's just like, it's got to be where all the inflammation and everything comes from. Just all that ultra processed food. So, yeah, that's my biggest gift that Lulu gave me, is the gift of not having sore joints, because getting rid of all that ultra processed food.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because who wants to just live in pain every day? You know, that's distracting too. That's
Pain
really
sucks.
Distracting. You know, that distraction. So you're distracted by the food. And, you know, another thing you said over and over, Ellen, was like, oh, I had, you know, a problem with my weight. So I was, you know, upset, you know, because you weren't like the other girls, the popular girls, whatever. So what did you do? You go home and eat more. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, and it was one other example you said too, I forget, but you went to the food, like, I don't feel good about myself, go to the food. Yeah. And it's just like that, you get stuck, you know, stuck in that cycle, in the cycle. Yeah. The feelings, boing, boing, boing. Yep.
Yep. And I would finally say, okay, this is it. I'm going to do something about this. And it was always right after I'd filled myself with some kind of crap and I was full and not hungry and none of that. And boy, by golly, I'm going to start. Well, it never happens. Yeah. Never happens.
Yeah. You have to have a real change of mind. You have to have the willingness to just try it. You know, like, you know, anybody that's out there listening that is wondering if you could do this too, well, you can. You know, you don't have to compare yourself to anybody here. You know, you don't have to say, well, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to lose all that weight like Ellen did, or I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't even want to think about doing it for 11 years like Lulu. But don't think about that. Just think about, try it for a week. Just say, I'm going to do this for 1 week. I'm going to give it 1 week. And then after 1 week, I'm going to eat pizza and ice cream and cookies and everything. Just do a week. And something tells me, when you've got a week under your belt, there might be something about it that you love. Yep. You might just love the idea of taking good care of yourself. You might, a week later, start maybe eliminating some health pain and stuff like Ellen happened quick. Barb, it happened quick for you too, didn't it, Barb? The hands, how quick did that happen for you with the hands? Your hands felt better.
You know, I don't know, Lulu. My big thing was when I got rid of my indigestion and my chronic cough went away. So it took a month after getting rid of dairy for my chronic cough to go away. So your body will heal itself. Yeah. So if you feel like, oh, I'm just a hot mess. I mean, I think we were all hot messes. Yeah. And whether it's 7 to 10 days or, you know, it took 3 days for my indigestion to go away and 30 days for my chronic cough to go away, but it goes away because your body will heal itself.
And that's quick, because you weren't done. Yeah. You weren't done with losing your weight in a month.
Oh, I had barely even touched the weight.
Yeah.
It was, but I don't remember actually the hands, except that I just woke up one day and went, and then I just, you know, my finger. Just look at my hands; they're a hot mess. You should take a screenshot and just put this up there. You know what I'm saying?
But you know something, Barb? They work and they're beautiful because they work.
I
know. And they serve you well.
But I look at it and I go, these should really hurt.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people. I said, these hands should hurt, but they don't, because it's not necessarily the arthritis that gives you pain. It's the processed, ultra-processed food that we eat in our diet that gives us the pain.
Yeah.
And so you can have arthritis and live a fine life. I mean, everything is just, but the hand works. It's just arthritis, but the arthritis does not hurt. It's the food we put in our body that hurts. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm preaching today. I'm sorry, guys, but it's just.
No, you're preaching. You're speaking from experience. You're speaking from experience. Yeah. It's good to hear.
Yeah,
you know, when you have achy hands every day and then you don't, that's huge. Yeah. Never mind, like, you know, being in the cute jeans. I mean, that's all great. You know, but you know, to spend your day in pain, yeah, that's not.
Yeah. So Ellen, from your knees down, are they like 100% now?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, you know, people would think, oh, I got to get knee replacement surgery, and some people have to get that because that's required, right? But if you catch it soon enough, you can really just reverse all of that.
Yeah, and I do have one knee that's worse than the other, but it doesn't. You know, once in a while it might flare up, but it's nothing. It used to hurt all the time, and it's fine.
It used to wake me up at night during sleep.
Yep.
Mm.
So
Yep.
Wow, unbelievable.
Anyway, it's beautiful.
RT.
Oh, there she is. It's RT.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I just thought I'd check in. First of all, Ellen, thank you for your story. I'm so glad I came to this week's meeting. I haven't been coming. I've been transitioning into car life. But your story is touching me for some reason. It's resonating with me, and it's helping me to be encouraged to get back on the train again. I've been a little off. We talked about that last week. So thank you so much for your story and your inspiration. I just wanted to check in because I said I would. And I'll tell you how this week has been going. For those of you who weren't on last week, I was sharing with the group that I had just recently started going full-time, living out of my car as of January 1st. And I've been struggling with figuring out how to do this diet plan with the way I like to eat, plus I'm vegan, et cetera, et cetera. And I was getting a lot of great feedback. So thank you, Nicole, and everybody, Lulu, for your comments. What I did this week was, last week, the big takeaway for me was start slow, maybe not try to jump in the deep end and then figure it out little by little. So this week, what I did was, and I was way off the wagon because I was having coffee every morning. So I eliminated the coffee and I replaced it back to my dandelion tea every morning. But what that has done is I've been having headaches all week, I guess coming off the caffeine. And it's been debilitating, but I'm pushing through and not going back, you know, just staying on. I'll either have just warm water in the morning or I'll have dandelion tea. But I'm fighting migraines like every day.
And
why did you want to give up? Why did you want to give up coffee?
Because if I have coffee, I have to have vanilla flavor and the sugar.
You don't
all
want
the things
you don't want just black coffee?
No, I've never been able to just drink black coffee. I don't know if anyone else is like that.
It was a learned behavior. It was learned. I didn't love it until then. I did because it was the only option.
Oh.
And I didn't want to let coffee go until it started making me cuckoo, and then I had to let it go.
We have to eliminate caffeine, right?
No, doesn't say no caffeine on the food plan.
Oh, really?
Nowhere does it say no caffeine.
Well, before I went full-time car life, I was on dandelion tea every morning, and I felt better.
Okay, so all right, so, yep. But yeah, that's not to do with the food plan. But I don't have the coffee either. But it's not because of the food plan. It's because it just I'm better off without it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dandelion tea, and for lunches and dinners, I haven't been on the food plan, but I made sure to just have fruits and veggies, this week, or something that is on the food plan, quinoa
and proteins.
Yeah. I just haven't figured out how to get the right portions, and I'll figure it out. I have some great ideas I want to start trying next week, but I just wanted to check in and let everybody know that I did what I said I was going to do, and thank you for holding me accountable.
Oh, good. Good. Do you have a scale?
I had a scale. It's probably in storage somewhere, so I have to get another one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You might want to get one of those little ones since you're in a car. Do you know about that little one? The little Joseph one? You seen that one? Give me a second. The brand is called Joseph. I can put a link in the description of this video. Are you there? There you are. I just carry it right in this little case. It's this little tiny case. It's just a little zippered thing. This is just like a cosmetic bag. But this is what it looks like. It's this, right?
Oh,
you open it like this, right? You put your plate on here, and this is the reading.
How cool is that?
So if you're like at a restaurant, not that I go to restaurants, you can take this with you, and you slip this right under your plate, and the only thing that shows is this. It's right in front of you, so it's very discreet, but it's also very, very tiny, for a van. So
yeah, that looks really cool. I'll look into if you could link it, that would be great. I'll grab one.
I will. So that's this is my backup one. I mean, I just use the big one, in my little kitchen here, but this is my backup just in case. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I said, I need a little bobblehead of Barb saying, sugar's the devil, sugar's the devil. I need to sit right on my dashboard so you should remind me. But thanks, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Like one of those buttons that you hit. Like, what was that one? What was that button that you hit?
What was that?
From
that
Staples?
was easy?
That was easy. Yeah, that was easy. Yeah.
Do you give permission, Barb? Do you give permission for a licensed bobblehead of your likeness?
I'm just gonna make one.
That's funny. You're muted, Barb. Looks like you're talking. Looks like you're talking, but you're muted.
And sorry, yeah, I did. Nicole, yeah, you have full permission to source that out, and we can make a fortune on that little. Sugar's the devil. Great idea. I'm sure you want to cut on now too. I guess. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to get in on that.
Yeah. Well, thanks, T. What's really great, T, is that you're you're focusing on it, and you want it. You want it, and it's right there. It's so close. It's so close, and it's waiting for you to grab it and embrace it, and just say, we said there's a bazillion excuses, and there's really no good reasons, and just go for it.
Thank you. I'm gonna figure it out just like I do everything else in my life. So it's a matter of taking it step by step. So thank you, guys.
And we'll be watching. We'll be watching and waiting for you.
Thanks,
T.
Thank you. Hi, Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm feeling much better. I'm still coughing, still hard breathing, but I'm getting better.
Good.
I wanted to share that I had cabin fever, being sick for a week and plus, and extremely bad weather we're having here. I was starting to actually pace the room like I wanted to eat something. And I kept on hearing Lulu's voice saying, "Does it serve me well? What is it going to accomplish if you eat something?" There's plenty to eat here. I live with my daughters and family. And I didn't. I kept to I kept to the plan.
Good.
I started stretching a little bit again and doing some sit-up and not really sit-up, but squats and push-ups and stuff to get back my strength. When it comes to pain, I had a question about that because this is what I'm aiming for because I was achy all over. I still have, that's a month tomorrow that I started, no sugar, no processed food whatsoever. My hands, just like yours, Barb, are deformed, but they don't hurt anymore. But I still have pain in the shoulders and my left knee and hip. But those are pain that I had from injuries. Is it different than inflammation when it comes to the pain going away?
I would say it's not helping. It wouldn't help. I would say I don't know if the pain would go away because if they're injuries, but I would think it would lessen without the inflammation. I mean, inflammation on top of an injury.
Okay,
That's just, I mean, I don't really know. Does anybody have any experience with that? Pam?
I would say, I mean, I know I have some actual issues with my neck and my low back, stenosis and discs and blah, blah, blahs, not arthritis, well, arthritis too, and yeah, I do still get flare-ups, where I get a lot of pain. I do think it's less frequent and I do recover quicker. But it's not like a joint, like an arthritis is, and some of the pains are inflammation, but those are some of the ones I have are more nerves, and they don't necessarily have to do with inflammation. If a muscle gets tight, and it just presses on a nerve, then that nerve's going to be pissed off, and you're going to have pain. So I think it depends a lot on where your pain is stemming. But I do believe the weight loss overall has helped it.
Yeah.
And with the food, eating the better food as well. But I think the weight loss has helped all my pre-existing chronic type pains, even though I still get them. Just not as often or as severe, or they don't last as long.
So that makes sense. That makes sense. It's like, it's the food that, like, not inflaming the injuries with inflammatory foods and having less weight on the carrying that less weight around will be more gentle on the injuries, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they're still there and they do still get angry at me sometimes, but it's nothing really that I'm doing because I've been eating the plan and but those, I don't know exactly why they decide they don't want to play nice. Sometimes they just don't want to play nice.
Okay, thank you, Pam. I appreciate your input.
Okay.
Thank you. I can't wait to go on the scale in March
1st. Yep. And we'll have our meeting and we'll hear all about it. Excellent.
Thank you, Bridget.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for a great meeting. It was great. And thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much for sharing yourself and going out of your comfort zone or out of your wheelhouse and just saying, I'm just going to do it. Just going to do it. And you did great. Good to see everybody.